We saw one of the wackiest triple plays I've ever seen in the Braves and Boston Red Sox game. The Angels, they blew a lead in the most Angels way possible. We'll talk about that later on. And Pete Alonso, he was a one-man wrecking crew versus the Yankees. So a lot to talk about in today's MLB Recap, a series in which we recap every single game, almost every single day. And a reminder, if you're going to any games, concerts, anything like that anytime soon, save yourself 20 bucks off on SeatGeek using code Fuzzy. Now, before we talk about all of the games from yesterday, I do have a breaking, I put that in air quotes because this happened yesterday, but Enrique Hernandez, the former Dodger fan favorite, he's going back to the Dodgers. He's going from the Boston Red Sox to the Dodgers. The biggest reason why, first of all, he's been terrible, and second, Trevor Story, he's pretty much back. He's probably going to be Boston's starting shortstop within the next week or two, but Enrique Hernandez, he's been awful the last 2 years. He's basically stolen $20 million from the Red Sox. He has a 67 OPS plus over his last 179 games, and he's been the worst defensive shortstop in baseball this year, but I guess maybe that's better than Miguel Rojas, who has a horrific 51 OPS plus this year and 0 home runs in 73 games. If any team is going to allow Enrique Hernandez to bounce back, it's going to be the Dodgers, so I don't mind this trade. All right, here we go. The first game from yesterday, the Orioles were taking on the Phillies in Citizens Bank Park in Baltimore. They got 2 early runs on doubles from Austin Hayes and Adam Frazier, but Bryson Stott, he nabbed Frazier at third base. That's a huge play, to be honest, and it's huge because that run could have been all the difference. As Philly, they scored 1 in the third on a single from rookie Johan Rojas, and then the two-timer Bryce Harper, he barreled one up. He now has 2 home runs over his last 11 games, which is a lot for him because his power has been pretty much zapped this year, but he's slowly but surely getting his power stroke back. Ryan O'Hearn, he hasn't had a problem hitting home runs all year. He stole the lead back on his 9th home run of the season. He's still hitting .310, by the way. Frazier, he was going for his 3rd hit and 2nd RBI, but Nick Castellanos made a great running grab to rob Frazier of extra base hits. So we head to the 9th inning with Philly down by 1 until Bryson and his best friend Bryce Harper, they teamed up to tie it up. Harper was flying around third base. A bobble from shortstop Jorge Mateo allowed JT Realmuto to extend the inning, and Alec Boehm, he stepped in, and there it is. That is a big, big W. We'll talk about why in just a second. Here we go. The Blue Jays and the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman and Bo Bichette exchanged home runs early in this one. Freddie, he's basically hitting .330 with 21 home runs, and Bo Bichette, he's basically hitting .315 with 17 home runs. They both absolutely rake. JD Martinez, I mean, what a surprise season. He has 25 home runs. He cut it to a 4-3 game in the 8th inning, but that's when Danny Jansen, he did his thing. He's really good when it matters the most. His base clearing double put the Blue Jays up by 4, but good news for LA, Jordan Romano is not available for the Blue Jays. So Mookie Betts, he took advantage. He singled in 1. Max Muncy, he walked with the bases loaded, and Chris Taylor, he shot one the other way, bringing home 2, so it's now a 7-7 game. But Toronto, they were threatening in the extras, and Mookie Betts, he fired one home. It's way up the line, and Will Smith, he saved it. So I think that's more of a Will Smith web gem than a Mookie Betts web gem, although you do have to tip your cap to that arm strength. They tagged Kevin Kiermaier, and speaking of Kiermaier, he's got to try and save this one in center field. He can't do it. James Outman, he walks it off as the Dodgers barely beat the Blue Jays 8-7. Another really close game, we have the Angels in Detroit, and Mike Moustakas, they call him Malibu Mike. He's been pretty solid for the Halos. He doubled in 2 RBIs in the 1st, and then skipping to the 5th inning, Anaheim, they went up 4-1 after a single from Eduardo Escobar when Jake Rogers, he lifted off. This dude now has 18 home runs and a near 115 OPS plus over his last 103 games. Look for him to maybe get dealt in the next few days. So even though Griffin Canning gave up 2, he was still nasty. He struck out 8 Tigers over 5 frames. He has 61 strikeouts over his last 48 innings. He's been nasty. Luis Rengifo, he's looking for 3 consecutive multi-hit games, and he got it. That RBI triple, it was followed up by Taylor Ward's single. That made it 6-2 Angels, and they needed all 6 because the ultra-dependable Carlos Estevez, he got roughed up in this one. He allowed RBI base hits to Jake Rogers and Riley Green, so it's 6-4 now, and Torkelson, he lifts one to deep center. I hinted at this in the intro. Mickey Moniak, he can't make the grab. That 2-run double ties it at 6. I almost feel like they should have given Moniak an error, but regardless, Moniak, he knew he had to make up for his mistake. He got the job done. That's an RBI double. He now has a 15-game hitting streak, and Aaron Loop, I call him Aaron Soup on this channel. It's not funny, but I think it's funny. He strikes out 2, his first save of the year. The Angels, they beat the Tigers 7-6. Here we go, a battle of sea creatures. The Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays. Rookie Josh Lowe, he got the scoring going with an RBI single up the middle, and Yandy Diaz, he quickly made it 3-0. Now staying with Yandy, Brandon Lau, he made a nice play in the 3rd, and Yandy, he really had to stretch for that, and ultimately he got hurt, hoping that he's going to be okay. Brandon Lau, he teed up in the 6th inning for a home run, and Tyler Glasnow, he put the Marlins in a blender. 7 innings, just 2 base hits. He racked up 8 punch-outs along the way. He has a 12.8 strikeouts per 9, so that's 88 strikeouts in 61 and 2/3 innings. Tampa Bay then clutched up with the leather. They made multiple web gems in the 8th inning. It started with a Jose Siri leaping grab. He robbed Joey Wendell of extra base hits, and then Luke Raley, I think he ended the 8th inning with a nice sliding grab in foul territory. Pete Fairbanks, he had an easy 1-2-3 9th inning. He struck out 2 for his 12th save. The Rays, they get back to within 1.5 games of the Orioles, as Baltimore, they got walked off by the Phillies. And the Marlins, I just want to say this, they're 1-9 in the second half. So before we talk about the Subway Series, the Mets versus the Yankees, let's get this Rockies and Nationals game out the way. So breakout star Lane Thomas, who a lot of people are saying might be a Yankee in the next week or two, he got the first run on an RBI double, and it could have been more if Colorado didn't nab Stone Garrett at home. Rookie Ezequiel Tovar got that run back and put Colorado up 3-1 on his 10th home run. Now it's 4-1 Colorado after Elias Diaz had an RBI single. Now remember how Stone Garrett got thrown out? He made sure that couldn't happen again. He got the Washington Nationals within 2 on a home run. JK, it's a 3-run lead again for Colorado as Elias had a second RBI of the night. But here comes the Washington Nationals. Jamie Candelario, the Candyman, delivers with an RBI, and there's the game. How did Joey Meneses hit that ball out? He brought out the 9-iron for a go-ahead 3-run tater. He's got 5 home runs and 17 RBIs over his last 20 games. Kyle Finnegan, he wrapped up his 14 saves, so shout out to the Nationals with a really fun comeback game. All right, here we go. The Mets and the Yankees, another Subway Series on hand, and Big Meat Pete, Polar Bear Pete, he got it going early. His RBI single came right before his laser beam 3-run shot. He had not hit a home run in like 12 or 13 games, something like that, and there's another one. So he had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs in the first 6 innings, and then Vogelback, he made it back-to-back home runs. By the way, Pete Alonso, he now has 28 home runs and 68 RBIs despite basically being in a month-long slump. He was terrible. Justin Verlander, he was not terrible. He went 5 shutout, make it 6 shutout for the 40-year-old. Over his last 6 starts, he's got a dazzling 1.4 ERA, and hopefully Max Scherzer can find his groove along with JB pretty soon. McNeil, he had an RBI single in the 7th and then a 2-run double in the 9th inning, so both he and Pete Alonso had big days. This might have been the biggest W of the season for the Mets because it came against the Yankees, so you want to kind of brag to them. They got Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, and JB going in a single game. If they can keep this up, honestly, the Mets, they can win 65 to 70% of their games for the rest of the year. This one's kind of funny because weren't the Braves formerly known as the Boston Braves? So Atlanta, they're in Boston, and Tristan Casas, he walked in a run right before Christian Arroyo beat out a throw from Austin Riley to make it 2-0 Braves. Boston, they were trying to break out with another rally, but look at what the Braves did. They turned a triple play. That is an 8-3 5 triple play, a lot of fun. But the Red Sox, they ended up starting another rally in the 4th inning as Jarren Duran, his breakout season continues. Rafael Devers, he had an RBI single as well. He has 75 RBIs, by the way. Nick Pivetta, he came in as a relief pitcher. He went 5 shutout. Over his last 12 innings, he has 19 strikeouts and 0 runs allowed. Masataka Yoshida, this guy, I love him so much. That is 10 3-hit games in 2023 after that 2-run home run. He's batting .320 with 12 home runs, 53 RBIs. The Red Sox, they won 3 in a row. So the Minnesota Twins hit for the team cycle in the 1st inning. That home run from Matt Wallner gave the Twins a home run, a triple, a double, and a single all in 1 inning. Now, J-Rod and the M's, they were not going to give up, though, because J-Rod, he goes off for his 15th home run, and Cade Marlowe, I think that's how you say his name, he belted his first career home run. Cal Raleigh, he got it going in the 8th with an RBI double, and after Teoscar grounded out to make it a 2-run game, J-Rod, he lifted off for his 2nd home run, this time a 2-run home run to tie it. He has 16 home runs and 23 stolen bases in a down season. That is some serious and stupid talent, if you ask me. Now, Seattle, they're still trying to complete the comeback, and Gino, he does it. Eugenio Suarez, he ripped a go-ahead 2-run double, and even though Michael A. Taylor belted a solo home run, nothing came from that rally. Paul Sewald, he gets save number 20 as the Mariners beat the Twins 9-7, which made me happy. Why did it make me happy? Well, Cleveland fans were very grateful for J-Rod and the Seattle boys because they gained a game on the Twins, a super easy game against the Royals. Rookie Bo Naylor, he blasted off twice. That first one, my God, 430 feet off the bat, and then his second of the game was a 2-run home run in the 5th inning, so his first career multi-home run game. That's 3 home runs in his last 5 starts, so like, can we please play Bo Naylor more often? J-Ram, he made it 5-1. He has 57 RBIs, and Aaron Savali, he took that postseason implosion last year against the Yankees personally. He kept on developing over the offseason. 8 more shutout frames. He now owns an impressive 1.7 ERA over his last 5 starts, and that's been clutch considering Bieber and McKenzie have been out. A battle of the Chicagos. We have the Cubs facing off against against the White Sox, Dansby Swanson swatted a long 2-run home run, and then Christopher Morel made it back-to-back home runs. Chicago, the Cubs, not the White Sox, they kept pouring it on. Swanson hit a second. He's up to 12 home runs and a 114 OPS plus. He wasn't done, but I do have to show Nico Horner. Nico now has 7 home runs, and in the same game, he stole 2 bags, so he has 24 stolen bases. He is so valuable. There's Swanson with his 4th RBI of the night. Now the White Sox, they did get back into it on a grand slam from no, wait. That ball was caught. Seiya saves it. Mr. Suzuki robs Moncada of a grand slam. And then Adbert Alzolay, he turned the White Sox into a cup of vanilla pudding. He struck out 3. He has 10 saves. He is so nasty. The Cubs, they've won 4 games in a row. The Cincinnati Reds can get within a half game of first place if they can steal a W in Milwaukee. And Cincinnati, they took a lead 2-0 after 4. India and Votto, they both had RBI singles. And then rookie Andrew Abbott, he's apparently prime Chris Sale. 6 more shutout frames. He struck out 9 over those 6 scoreless innings, lowering his ERA to 1.9. Can he steal Rookie of the Year from Corbin Carroll? It's pretty unlikely, but Andrew Abbott, he's been a dog. Now we head to the 9th where Will Benson, he crushed a massive 2-run home run. He's hitting 290 with 7 home runs and 10 stolen bases. I mean, Nolan Jones and Will Benson could have been such good help for the Guardians in 2023. Did he do it? Did Christian Yelich make it a 1-run game? Yes, he did. His 3rd hit of the day is a 3-run home run. He's hitting 360 with 6 home runs and 5 stolen bases over his last 22 games. Now, unfortunately, that home run could not rally the troops as Milwaukee, they lose a game in the standings. They're now just up by a half game. The Rangers are trying desperately to not lose their division lead in the AL West, but the Astros, they've been playing really good baseball, and Chas McCormick, he can knock it out lately. He knocked in another on a double. He's hitting 352 with 21 RBIs over his last 20 games. Travis Gronkowski, he made a sick play in left field to rob Corey Julks of extra base hits. It ended up being a sac fly regardless. Now, no one is catching that. Kyle Tucker, he's having himself a monster July. He's hitting 392 with 7 home runs and 29 hits in 20 games. By the way, he's hitting 361 against lefties this year. Rookie JP France, he really appreciated those runs. He rewarded his offense with 7 shutout innings. He now has a sparkling 2.87 ERA as a rookie. Martin the Machete Maldonado, he belted a solo home run, and that was clutch because Garver, he made it a 1-run game on 1 swing. Mitch Garver, by the way, has 28 home runs and a near 120 OPS plus over his last 154 games. Ryan Presley, he barely escapes with his 24th save as the Astros, they've won 3 in a row, and they're 1 game back of first place. The Pirates were in San Diego yesterday, and Fernando Tatis Jr., the best defensive right fielder in baseball, started this game off by saving his pitcher from allowing extra base hits. That's a sick grab at the wall. He has 8 outs above average in right field. That is insane considering he's barely played there for his career. Blake Snell only allowed 1 run this entire game, and I'll show it because I really like Henry Davis. He's going to be someone that rakes for the Pirates for quite some time. But yeah, that was it. Blake's offense picked him right back up. Manny had his 20th home run. He has 11 home runs in his last 23 games. Scary Gary had a big day as well. He did more damage after the RBI single. Now it's time to talk about Blake Snell. I cannot believe what he's been doing lately. He went 6 innings, only allowed 2 base hits. He's given up 2 earned runs total over his last 2 starts, despite walking 12. 12 walks over his last 11 innings. He's only allowed 2 runs over those last 12. That's just insane. I don't know how he's getting out of these innings. He's like prime Nolan Ryan, walking everyone but not allowing any base hits. Now the Padres, they're still up 2-1, and look at Juan Soto. He robs Andrew McCutchen to keep it at a 2-1 ball game in the top of the 7th, and then right before the 7th came to an end with 2 outs, he hit a moonshot, a lefty pimp job, his 20th of the season. He has a 180 OPS plus over his last 12 games. Now we did have some drama as Manny Machado got hit by the lefty Perdomo. Perdomo got ejected. Gary Sanchez had Manny's back though. That 2-run 435-foot blast was his 10th home run in 44 games. He's really changed life in San Diego in my opinion, considering Blake Snell has been the best pitcher in baseball since Gary arrived. Josh Hader did not get the save, but he struck out all 3 hitters to end this game. The Padres, they're looking pretty good the last few days. Now we do have some breaking news for this Giants game, but we'll talk about that after the highlights. Alex Cobb, he was great in this one. He finally got the lead on a sac fly from Casey Schmidt in the 5th, and the rookie Casey Schmidt, he's been terrible for the last 2 months, so he'll take any run production he can get. Cobb, he went 6 shutout with 9 punch outs. He has a 2.9 ERA on the season. JJ Bleday, he stayed hot, and he was thankful that Alex Cobb was no longer in the game because he tied it on a single in the 8th. Now San Francisco, they're in danger of losing their 7th game in a row. But then Mike Yastrzemski saved them with a go-ahead RBI double. Camilo Doval, he struck out 3 hitters. He has 31 saves. That guy is so nasty. And then after the game, the Giants wanted to stack a W on top of a W. They are finally calling up their top prospect, their super prospect, Marco Luciano. I cannot wait. I feel like he's going to be so good, and in replacement of Casey Schmidt, who's been terrible. The Cardinals and the Diamondbacks, we saw a steal of home in this one. Instead of a double play, Brendan Donovan, he was able to take advantage of a throw to second, motor home to score. That was the only run given up by either starting pitcher. Steven Matz of St. Louis, he went 6 shutout with 6 strikeouts, and Merrill Kelly, he had 5 strikeouts over 6. So St. Louis, they're barely holding on to a 1-run lead, and a leadoff triple in the 8th made things scary, and that's why it was so scary. Jake McCarthy, he slapped it up the middle for an RBI, and here comes Corbin Carroll. He squared one up to deep center, and Carlson cannot make the play. That's a go-ahead 2-run triple. He raises his OPS plus to 147. Closing pitcher Kevin Ginkel, he got Alec Burleson to ground into a game-ending double play. Arizona, they needed that W because now they're 3-7 over their last 10. So before we talk about today's Immaculate Grid, let's get into the update on the standings because the Orioles lost and the Rays won. The Rays, they're now just 1.5 games back of first place in the AL East. The Twins, they lost and the Guardians won, so the Guardians gained a game. They're 3 games back. The Rangers, like we said, they've lost 2 in a row. The Astros have won 3 in a row. And look at that, a 1-run deficit for the Astros. In the National League, the Braves are still out in front. The Milwaukee Brewers are a half game ahead of the Reds. And the Cubs, they've won 4 in a row, so watch out for the Cubs. And then in the West, the Dodgers, they picked up a game. So did the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Padres, so nothing changed in that division. What about the wild cards? So we still have the Rays, the Astros, and the Blue Jays as the first 3 teams in the AL, with the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Angels, the Mariners, and the Guardians are all within 5.5 games. In the National League, we can see that almost everyone's in it. The Reds, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants are in it right now. The Phillies are a half game back. Kind of blows my mind that the Marlins are only 1 game back despite winning 1 game over their last 10. And you have the Cubs, the Padres, and the Mets all within 7. All right, here we go. My favorite part of these recaps, the Immaculate Grid. We have the Astros and the Royals. I'm going to go with Carlos Beltran. Didn't Carlos Beltran, he was part of that cheating team, right? 20%. Okay, so we have the Marlins and the Royals. This one, my rarity score is not going to be that good. I'm going to go Jorge Soler, 52%. Yeah, my rarity score is going to be terrible. Who made a... I mean, this could be Salvador Perez. That's an easy one. Once upon a time, the Royals had a bunch. Kane. I'm going to go Lorenzo Kane because I know that he made an all-star team. 5%. That was good. The A's and the Astros. I'm going to break out Chris Carter because I know that Chris Carter was on both of those squads. He was from 2010 to 2011. 2%. That's huge. The A's and the Marlins. We saw him in today's game. Oh, actually, I'm going to go AJ Puck. I feel like AJ Puck might be a small 11%. I should have gone with JJ Bleday. The A's All-Star, let's go with someone from back in the day that maybe Chavez. I know that Eric Chavez made a bunch of All-Star teams. Eric Chavez never made an All-Star team? Are you kidding me? Then he got robbed of an All-Star appearance. Let's go with Jose Reyes and just hope that he has a low one. 5%. Okay, that's pretty good. We have 2 guesses left. Let's try and make these count. So we have an All-Star for the A's. Let's go with Gray. Sonny Gray, I think, was an All-Star back in the day. Yep, 1%. That was huge. Man, if we did not miss that Eric Chavez, we would have had a good round. Miami and New York. Miami and New York. What was that? What's that guy's name? This VR. Jonathan VR. I think that he played for both teams. Oh, that was really good. That was a really good, despite me missing Eric Chavez, he should have made an all-star team. That was good. I have absolutely no idea how I did not get Justin Verlander for the Mets and the Astros. That is 100% my fault, but an A's All-Star, could have gone with Ricky Henderson at 9%, but I feel like Sonny Gray was pretty good. And then, I mean, not too bad for me. That does it for today's MLB recap. If you guys enjoyed or you're brand new, leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Remember to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself $20 off, and I'll catch you in the next one.